The Petrick Idea Center is a place for students and faculty across all of our colleges and schools to collaborate. Welcome, everyone. And today is a day of gratitudes and thank yous. And I want to start with, we should all feel grateful that a week ago we planned to have this as an outdoor event. So Olivia and others, job well done, good decision. Special occasion, very special day. It's been 13 years since Illinois Wesleyan opened new construction on this scale. It's wonderful to see this beautiful facility come to fruition after years of planning and anticipation. I want to acknowledge several people, in particular, some of our community partners who are in attendance today, starting with our Chair of the Board of Trustees, Tim Zerlong. Other members of the board that are scattered throughout the audience that I don't want to overlook. Mayor Dan Brady, State Representative Sharon Chung, an alum. Former Wesleyan President Dick Wilson. Who also knows our namesake donor very well, the Petricks. I also want to acknowledge the contributions of former President Georgia Nugent and former Petrick Center Director John Corton, who helped initiate this project in its planning phase. Thank you to them. This is a project that began with the vision and passion of an alumnus, the late beloved Dave Petrick, who wanted to set in motion an opportunity for students to learn with all the advantages of a liberal arts education and a hands-on, collaborative way. We're very fortunate to have some of Dave's family with us. I want to acknowledge his wife, Ellen, and son, Chris. We also want to recognize foundational donors, Mark and Noel Talluto, and Ann and Alan Fisher. We're getting used to this. And Mark's father, Joseph, who's with us as well. Dave Petrick's loved ones described his vision best, and we have a video to hear it in their own words.
Dave had a great sense of humor. I think that's what I appreciated more than anything, just as his wife. He always made me laugh.
My dad has always been an entrepreneur. At Wesleyan, one of the things that maybe he kind of followed him through life was his curiosity. Honestly, this Idea Center, I think, is a great example of that. He wanted everybody from the university there because he always felt like you never know who the next entrepreneur is.
Dave and I both had fond memories at Illinois Wesleyan. We loved it there. We both had been to previous colleges and didn't feel the warmth and connectedness that we did at Illinois Wesleyan.
I think my dad's idea of the Idea Center is to create an environment where kids from all disciplines can come share their ideas, learn from each other, and explore what it means to be an entrepreneur. I believe exposure probably is one of the best things that this will do. Is like, maybe you thought you wanted to be a history major or you wanted to be an art major, but all of a sudden you get involved in a class there, or you get involved with a project with a lot of different people that you wouldn't have been exposed to initially. And it creates a spark and a drive that, you know, totally propels you in a different direction. Passion and drive is what makes things go. And if you can get that from your university or from your school, I mean, what an asset.
Well, I think that's exactly what the purpose of this Idea Center was, for a gathering place for all different backgrounds.
I think it allows them to get together. I think it allows participation in different perspectives, and if you build it, they will come.
Dave and I were blessed to have the financial ability to gift to Illinois Wesleyan, and we would hope that others in our situation would want to do the same thing.
I hope it's a gift that keeps on giving, really. I mean, that's what this is about. It's about creating opportunities for people that will go out and hopefully create a new business, you know, support people who work for them, support families, and hopefully do some good for the world. I think it's going to let people who never had the opportunity before to realize what it means to possibly run and own a business.
We would just be very pleased and very excited to see it, what has been accomplished. And I know Dave it'll mean the world to him, so.
I think he'd be blown away, to be honest with you. I think to see all this come to fruition, I think it would be extremely moving for him, and I think he'd be extremely proud.
The spirit of Dave Petrick is alive and well with us today, and will continue on in this Petrick Idea Center well into the future. A project like this doesn't just happen without a lot of hard work and support from throughout the university community and our community partners. I especially want to thank the craftsmen and skilled workers, the architects with BLDD. Carson Durham, wave your hand. A couple of years ago, we might have pushed you pretty hard. I think this was your fourth vision of what it was going to look like, but I can't imagine having the ability to draw something and have it come to fruition like this. That's pretty incredible. The crews from CORE. Despite Tony Segabiano, I'm joking. Tony, where are you at? Way back in the back where he should be. Dustin Kilgus, the foreman of this project. Tim Bassett, the president of CORE Construction. What incredible partners from tip to gun. We were sitting out there in the yard just a little over a year ago, and they promised it would be done on time and on budget, and it was. Our partners with the City of Bloomington, who continue to partner with us on future projects, more to come. The physical plant crews, who showed up in big ways a couple of weeks ago as a storm decided to visit our community. Tireless work by facilities, grounds, and custodial staff, and the many members of the faculty and staff who have supported these efforts in countless ways. And a special shout out to Penn Landscaping, whom get calls from me at 5:30 and 6 and 6:30 most mornings because there might be a blank spot of soil or a weed in the crack or something like that. Up until this very minute before you walked in, they were still planting and making sure this campus looks as pristine as it does, and I'm proud of this. I believe It looks the best it's looked in 176 years due to all these people we're talking about. You know, there's a little school out west called Stanford that calls themselves the Farm, and I think this looks so good, I'd like to start calling us the Park, and you're all welcome to share in the Park at Illinois Wesleyan University. We are also happy to report that the construction of this building is fully paid for by donors and grants. For those who are interested, there are many additional funding opportunities, we can't miss this, to help with programming, equipment, and ongoing improvements. Support from those who believe in and want to further the mission of this fine institution is transformational. The enthusiasm of their and your support is creating real momentum that's raising the profile of Illinois Wesleyan University. As we acknowledge the importance of philanthropic support in continuing the tradition of innovation at Illinois Wesleyan, I want to introduce our Vice President for Advancement, Jesse Meyer.
Thanks, Dr. Z. Well, as the person who is charged with overseeing our fundraising efforts here at IWU, I can tell you this with conviction, that what you see around you today, the building, the people, these are direct testaments to the power of intentional and transformative philanthropy. Illinois Wesleyan has a 175-year history of a deep commitment to the liberal arts, together with professional programs and robust career outcomes. So when I talk in my remarks often about IWU being mission-driven but market-sensitive, this is not a recent pivot for us or some attempt at a new marketing ploy. As our provost, John Miles, would say, we've been at the forefront of innovation in the liberal arts for 175 years. The opening of the Petrick Idea Center is happening because people see the value in that intersection, and they see us leading in this distinctive way. What makes our Idea Center unique is that ours is interdisciplinary. For example, if you're a history major at a large state institution, odds are you're probably not wandering in to your Idea Center and finding opportunities you never expected. But you can do that here. This approach means a larger percentage of our students will experience the vision that's created here today than at most other Idea Centers. I believe the world and higher education needs us to do this. And it's made possible by our flagship donors, Dave and Ellen Petrick and the Petrick Foundation, the Tallutos, and the Fishers. I want to thank each of you sincerely. You have made an indelible impact on a place that I hope means a tremendous amount to all of you. By far, the most rewarding aspect of my work are the authentic relationships I get the privilege to develop. And I'll say this about the individuals I just mentioned. I've gotten to know all of you on a personal level. I've been in your homes. I've had dinners with you. I've met your children. I've seen photos of your grandchildren. And some of you have had to watch me play golf. And I have had the wonderful pleasure of getting to know all of you as human beings. You are the exact type of alumni and friends we strive to produce here at Illinois Wesleyan. But more than that, you're precisely the kind of people we strive to produce. You represent the values of the Titan family and what we do for each other. Your generosity supports our students. You show truly what it means to do well and to do good. Today, we're not only here to dedicate and officially open this great facility, but we're also here to announce the addition of another of our centers of exploration and opportunity here at IWU. In that vein, I am pleased to also introduce the Talluto Center for Applied Entrepreneurship. This is the vision and creativity of Mark and Noelle Talluto. Mark is a serial entrepreneur and a member of the IWU Board of Trustees who for many years has invested his time, his deep experience, and his own personal capital to help the students at Illinois Wesleyan reach the best of their potential. What I have observed about Mark that I find so unique and special is the way that he thinks and the way that he connects the dots in a way that most others don't. He is a true ideator. The way that he processes information and articulates his ideas is proof that he is a quintessential liberal arts educated entrepreneur. His idea for a Center for Applied Entrepreneurship, his naming, by the way, is a direct extension of Dave Petrick's conviction that it is the connection between a grounding in the liberal arts and a spirit of innovation that produces the best entrepreneurs. Mark and Noel, I hope that this center means as much to your family as it does to us, our students, both present and into the future. I'd like to bring Mark up here to speak, but first we have an introductory reel to hear more about what motivates him to support Illinois Wesleyan.
That liberal arts education absolutely, and I didn't know it at the time, propelled me through entrepreneurship and gave me an amazing foundation. I look at that and I think about entrepreneurship, and obviously the Center for Entrepreneurship here. I think the biggest impact is the alumni network and the friends. Over the years, we all drove each other a little farther and a little harder. The fact that the culture of those people throughout the years, we just kept driving each other forward in our lives together. That probably was the biggest impact. It feels great to give back. There's one phrase I use, I'm not giving to the university, I'm giving through the university. I see the direct effect it has on students. Thank you. So good afternoon, everyone. It's a bit surreal to be speaking to you here today for something that's been a decade in the making. As I was reflecting on what to say about this building and this center, I realized this is the perfect embodiment of what entrepreneurship really is. It's about having a vision for something you're passionate about, communicating to others who can enable the vision, inspiring people to join you on a journey, investing in the resources that support an uncertain outcome, and working on something you aren't sure will ever come to fruition. And then there's one day you stop, you look up from years of work, you look around and something exists that didn't before. And collectively, everybody can see the results of their efforts. But before I talk about the Center for Applied Entrepreneurship, I want to begin with a few thank yous. And first thank you is to Illinois Wesleyan University, surrounded by people, the leadership, the faculty, the staff, and everyone who has supported this vision and helped turn an idea into reality. The players may have changed over the last decade, but this is the team that got it done. And that's what I think is actually very special, that the culture and passion this university has for the liberal arts and truly caring for student outcomes enabled the persistence in the face of much adversity. We didn't always know where this would be, or when it would be, or how much it would be, but we did know why it would be. And you all got it across the finish line, so thank you. Another thank you, I want to thank Dave Petrick and the Petrick family for their continued support. When I met Dave 10 years ago, it was about his desire to influence a generation of product designers for creating a major here at Illinois Wesleyan focused on design, technology, and entrepreneurship that matched his passion for manufacturing and product creation. And after talking to him, I thought, well, I didn't know you could do that. I didn't know you could just talk to a university and be like, well, I think we should start a major. And he's like, yeah, well, that's just all you got to do. I'm like, okay. And he inspired me to fund and create a minor in entrepreneurship so that any major that's interested in creating some enterprise could learn about how to do it. When I later heard he had a vision for a building on campus that focused on innovation and creation, he inspired me again to focus on the Center for Applied Entrepreneurship. I was already working on various projects on campus, but he made me realize they needed a home. And here we are. I'd also like to thank Bloomington Normal Community for being a part of every student's journey. Every student calls this community home for at least 4 years, and you take care of them well. But more than that, you do influence their experiential education. I worked several jobs, both as an intern, as an employee, while being a student here. And each one was influential in my life with memories and lessons learned that I reflect on and share with students to this day. Most importantly, I want to thank my family, my wife Noelle, my children, my parents that raised me. I'd like to take a quick moment to thank my father, who's here today, for being a role model in so many ways. I'm going to get through this. Just you guys have allergies here, and it's just awful. So just stick with it. Okay. As a biology teacher, he taught me that exploration and experimentation are a critical part of education. As a photographer, a cook, a calligrapher, he taught me that a scientist can be an artist, and sometimes your laboratory is a kitchen or a computer or a canvas. And maybe most importantly, when he supported my mother starting and running a pharmacy, he taught me that entrepreneurs need a support system that is sometimes functional, but more often emotional. So thank you all for making this a reality. But what exactly is this? What is a Center for Applied Entrepreneurship? Well, when I was a student here, I was a computer science major with a minor in mathematics and business. My liberal arts education gave me broad perspective, how to think, analyze, question, communicate, and look at problems from different perspectives. But after graduation, I discovered there was an entire another education waiting for me. One that came from customers, employees, investors, partners, competitors, mistakes, successes, experiences that simply were not in a textbook. I didn't realize I was getting my master's in business, psychology, organizational behavior, communications, finance, and marketing all at the same time. Only a few people laughed, but they know. It reminded me of my family pharmacy when my mother, who had interns, realized that they knew the chemistry of medicine, but not the chemistry between people. She realized that teaching them about what she learned managing a pharmacy was very different than being a pharmacist, but just as essential for career success. How to talk to patients, manage employees, balance the books, market your business, expand your products and services. These were lessons learned through experience. So, a Center for Applied Entrepreneurship. It will be a bridge between the liberal arts education and real-world experience, and serve as a connection between alumni and community members that want to give back to the next generation. As I mentioned earlier, this center is a home for much work that's already being done on campus. It is the roof on top of many pillars that have been built over the last decade. One of those pillars, we have a student-run Airbnb, a house on campus that is managed by the students. They manage the bookings, the guest interactions, repairs. Yeah, a tree just did fall through the fence, so I don't know if that's done yet. Forecasts, budgets, and countless little problems that they come with running a real business. They're not studying a hypothetical business. They're actually responsible for one that generates about $30,000 a year in revenue. And there's no constraint on any of the majors that can participate. We have accounting, marketing, music, finance, and many others. Another pillar is a class that we run every other semester where students start an actual business. They move beyond the classroom and actually in the last 8 years have built nearly 30 businesses and earned over $100,000 in revenue. But more importantly, they've learned lessons that only experience can teach. Another pillar is investment and advisory services in businesses started by Illinois Wesleyan alumni, continuing to support entrepreneurship long after a student has graduated. Currently, we have investments and advisory relationships with nearly a dozen alumni companies across industries as varied as private equity, construction, and confections, and they're tasty. And finally, a major pillar is alumni involvement. We already have dozens of alums that participate annually in various activities, speakers, mentors, and employers. We want to expand this to be a network of advisors, customers, and investors, not only to students, but with each other. I'm hoping to continue what Dave Petrick did for me, which is inspire philanthropy through leading by example. But there's more work to do, which will include paid internships, startups, board-level involvement at growing companies, real-time tracking of ventures, and much more. To the students here today, I know there's a few, I want to emphasize that this is for all majors, whether it be nursing, musicians, a computer scientist like me, a biologist, an artist, whatever your major, anyone who is developing expertise and passion in a field that may someday decide to build a career and a business around it. Because a liberal arts education may be one of the best foundations for entrepreneurship. After graduation, your classrooms just simply change. The marketplace becomes your laboratory. Your meetings become a stage. Your product becomes your canvas. Every proposal is just another essay. Every success and every failure becomes a case study. Your career becomes an ongoing seminar in which the curriculum is constantly changing, but the dorm room gets bigger and the food is way better. It's true. I invite you to come with nothing more than curiosity and a willingness to put yourself out there and learn from your mistakes. Your journey is certain even if your destination is unknown. We will endeavor to support you with whatever resources we have. And in conclusion, hold for applause. We're good. Okay. This center is a part of my own journey too. I've never opened a center for applied entrepreneurship. I don't know exactly what every program is going to look like 5 years from now. I don't know which ideas will work and which ones won't. But I'm willing to start one. I'm willing to stand here and tell you that I'm going to try. We've invested time, treasure, and talent just to get this started. And I say often to entrepreneurs that I work with, what looks like the finish line is just another starting line. And sometimes when you feel like you hit a wall, it's actually a stair on the staircase of your journey. I'm certain that what we're celebrating today is the end of the beginning. We've always had a legacy and a vision. Now we have a facility, the resources, the leadership, and the inspiration. We're truly just starting to make the impact we've dreamt about. If what I'm saying resonates with you, please be a part of our next step. Thank you. I look forward to working with you all. Welcome to the Center for Applied Entrepreneurship.
It's hard to keep up with Mark. He touches a lot of pieces of this university, so much so that I have to have team meetings to keep track of what he's doing, including the Airbnb and what that does for our students. But also, he teaches class on this campus twice a week. He doesn't live here. He lives in northern Chicago. It bothers me that he flies down here his own plane, but we'll talk about that later. No, well, I hope that bothers you too. Okay, he's good. You fly with him sometimes. I want to draw attention when we're done here, when you do venture back outside and brave the heat, the gardens around us are in honor of his mom and dad, Joseph and Beverly, and I think you heard why. He has named them, and I'm sure you can tell us later, the Fruition Gardens. And those gardens will range from the rim of the patio, down along the side of the building, out front that's just in front of the building and beyond, and as we eventually renovate Buck Hall, around that as well. I often tell students, faculty, and staff that this passion we have for creating the park here is paid for by several donors, and I hope you don't mind me outing you once again. One of those primary donors is Mark Talluto. So thank him for that as well when we have our reception. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Ben Haig, who became director of the Petrick Idea Center this year. Ben was previously the director of Innovate Springfield at the University of Illinois, Springfield, and he brings more than a decade of experience spanning both startup development and entrepreneurship education. Ben has a real appreciation and vision for why a liberal arts university is the ideal environment for innovation and entrepreneurship. As he completes his PhD dissertation on university-linked venture and angel funds, he also brings insight and energy into the opportunities the Petrick Idea Center and the Talluto Center for Applied Entrepreneurship can create within this local community with our alumni network and the value of those connections to our students. Ben.
Hello, I'm Ben. I'm the new director of the Petrick Idea Center. And this is how I introduce myself on campus when I see people, because I'm new. And they get very excited. And then they say, "What's the Petrick Idea Center?" And the best way I can explain it is this: it's a greenhouse for ideas. In many ways, our university has always been a greenhouse for talent, a place that creates the conditions for growth. Students come here curious, sometimes uncertain, and they are exposed to art and science, literature, finance, music, technology, and to people and ideas different from their own. And somewhere along the way, they begin to grow into who they are going to become. That is what a liberal arts education does. It nurtures the mind and the spirit. It gives us the right tools to discover the things we did not know we cared about, to wrestle with difficult questions, and ultimately, to spend a lifetime searching. I personally feel really lucky to be in this building. And to be in Petrick is to experience a class on culture through food, to listen to music recitals in the Fisher Forum, see student art displays all around us, make objects in our prototyping lab, launch a company in the Talluto Center for Applied Entrepreneurship, experience a chocolate tasting during homecoming, explore quantum computing with the Fisher Center for Interdisciplinary Quantum Science and Engineering, learn early-stage investing with the Angel Flight School, and much, much more. The Petrick Idea Center is an exciting new place, but it is not the beginning of entrepreneurship at Illinois Wesleyan. Far from it. For generations, Wesleyan has been producing people who take what they learned here and build things in the world. You will hear from 3 alumni who did just that this evening. Mark Talluto, one of them. Stick around. And we're all gathered here today because of a remarkable alumni, Mr. Dave Petrick. Mr. Petrick studied political science and became a lifelong entrepreneur. His journey reminds us that entrepreneurship is not a discipline that sits apart from the liberal arts, but it grows from many of the same things we have always valued here: curiosity, creativity, judgment, resilience, an understanding of people, and the courage to act. And then Mr. Petrick did the thing that completes this story. He came back. And after a lifetime of growing, building, and learning, he chose to invest in the people who would come after him. In many ways, this is the entire idea of a greenhouse. Welcome to Petrick.
Well, we're here to celebrate the successful completion of this project. Yet today isn't the end. It's just the beginning. For our students and the community, the Petrick Idea Center will become a place to convene ideas and people, to launch unforeseen opportunities and explore unlimited possibilities. This resource is further evidence of our mantra that Illinois Wesleyan is where students, faculty, staff, alumni, and the community can do well, do good, and become the best version of themselves. In just a minute, I invite you to experience this marvelous place and enjoy some fellowship and refreshments. As Ben alluded to, you're all invited to stay for a fireside chat in the Fisher Forum that'll start somewhere between 3:45 and 4:15, depending on how much fun you're having with the refreshments. But first, we have a ribbon cutting. Kind of like Sesame Street, but here we go.